Tech, and today we're going to show you the process for laying out multiple points using a total station. And here in front of me I have a CST Burger total station. This is a 305R reflectorless total station. Looks a lot like our digital theodolite, only it has more functions and an electronic distance measuring device within the scope as well. So I'm set up over a known point right here, hub with a dot on it, and I have another point about 150 feet away that's also marked with a dot. So looking down at my notes, I'm set up over CPX, control point X. My backside is control point Y, and then I'll begin laying out points 1, 2, and 3 using the total station for layout. A few things you need to know about this total station. First off, I am set up over the point. If you need to know that process, watch that video for setting up over a point with an optical plummet. When you first power on this total station, get familiar with the keypad. Here I have my target set to prism. I can change that with the T button, and if I look through here I have angle measurement, distance measurement, coordinate layout, and stakeout mode. We're going to be in distance measurement mode, and before I start I always want to go through and adjust my settings. So I'm going to go into distance measurement, and I have SA, which is settings, and I can change my prism constant and my adjustment factor, my temperature, and my barometric pressure. So I have my temperature and barometric pressure already set up for the weather today, but I need to check my prism. So my partner's got his prism here, and on the prism, real small up top here, it says 30 offset. So that means that this prism is offset from the center of the pole by 30 millimeters in the positive direction. So I'm going to, actually it already is set up for 30, so if it was not 30 I would have to adjust so that the pole that I was using was matched with the instrument. That said, everything is good, so I can escape out, and I'm ready to go ahead and get started. So my partner's going to walk down to control point Y, and then we'll start our measurements. Alright, so my partner is now set on the control point. His range pole is directly on the point, and he's facing me. I'm using my collimator scope here to get close. Then I look through my scope and use my tangent screws to get right on the money. Now I need to set my zero angle, and I can't set zero within distance measurement mode, so I click on the angle mode, and I'm going to set 0. So horizontal angle 0 set, yes. So now my 0 is set, and I'm set for an angle to the right, which is correct. Alright, so our horizontal right angle is set to 0. My partner's walking in the rough vicinity of where our point's going to be, and as I turn to the right, you'll notice that my angle is counting up toward the right. 70, 80. Now since I'm doing layout, I know based on my sketch and my data that I need a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to clamp this in as close as I can with the inner knob, and then use this tangent screw to get it dialed right close. Now don't be too fidgety about getting it on 0, 0. If you bump the tripod, it'll bounce around a little bit. So just get it as close as you can within a second or two without being too fussy of what 0 actually is. Now I'm going to get my partner in line because he's guessing, so I'm going to give him a hand signal to the right. Now he's going to set it down. I'm going to look through my scope. So I'm going to tell him to go right a little bit more, and then go left just a tiny bit, and then right just a tiny bit. It's kind of back and forth until he's right on point. So now I'm going to sight right into his prism, and to take a reading I go back into distance measurement mode, which was the triangle with the 3 lines around it. And it's taking a series of measurements. I can hear it clicking, and it says my horizontal distance was 105.4 feet. Come toward me, 5.5 feet. So I'm going to sight through again, move him to the right just a little bit, right just a little bit more, just a little bit right there. And then I'm going to take a measurement. 101.4, 1.5 feet toward me. Take another measurement. 99.992. That's so close. Go ahead and set your hub. So now he's going to grab his sledgehammer and set his hub, because we know that we're within basically 1/100th of a foot, which is 1/8 of an inch of being on the spot. So he can set his hub, and then we'll remeasure again on top of the hub to make our final marks. And he's going to get set up with his prism pole on the rear of the hub, and I'll get him in line to get a more accurate mark on that hub. So I'm still set at 90 degrees. Get focused in here. About a 1/2 inch to my left. It's good, mark it. So he's going to put a mark on the on the back side of that hub, where the tip of his pole was, and then he's going to move to the front side of the hub with his pole, and we'll do this all over again. Take a look. That's real good, mark it. So he's going to make a mark on the front of the hub where his tip of his prism pole is, and then connect the dots to get a nice straight line at the 90-degree angle. Okay, next we're going to take a distance, set up on the middle of your line, and see how far forward or backward he needs to go to memorialize this point. So we're on point. I'm going to hit my measure button here. Need to go back about 1 inch. So we're about 99.919293. Can you go back about another 1/4 of an inch? He's going to be real close to the edge of his hub here, but I think we can get it. And let him get nice and plumb again. Take our measurement. We're real close there. That's good, mark it. So now that we have that point marked, we're ready to mark point number 2. So I'm going to go back to my field book. Point number 2. And I have listed down that I need an angle of 53 degrees, 8 minutes and 0 seconds, and a distance of 125. So I'm going to unclamp and turn my instrument until I get to 53 degrees, 8 minutes and 0 seconds. Clamp it when I get close and use this tangent screw, 5308, and real close to 0 seconds. My distance needs to be 125. So now that my partner's paced off approximately the distance, I'll get him in line. Go this way about 1 foot. There, he looks pretty close with the collimator, so I'll look through my scope here and see if I can find my partner. He's a little bit lower, so I got to pan down now. focus in. Need to come to my right about 6 inches. 1 more inch to my right. Okay, I'm going to take a measurement now that he's in line. I got a distance of 132 feet, and I need to be 125. You need to come 7 feet directly back toward me. 7 feet. So he's going to approximate 7 feet. To my right. I'll come back to my left. Come back to my left. A little bit more right there. Take a measurement there. 125.57. 6 inches toward me. Still on line. 125.2. 3 more inches toward me. 3 inches. And he's at 125.0. That's it. Check if he's online. Go to my left about 2 inches. Get him back online here. He's looking real good online, real good on distance. I go ahead and set your hub. Let's set the back side. Alright, gotta pan up a little bit now that he's higher. Boy, he's right on line. Go ahead and make a mark. Let's do the front side. So he's getting on point. Sight through. That's good, mark it. He's on point. Let him get plumbed up. He's right on line, so I'll take my measurement by hitting the measure button. That's real good. Go ahead and mark it. So now we have our mark. So this is the process for laying out points with the total station. You have to have a minimum of a setup point and a back sight. Setting your first point is very much trial and error, where your partner paces in the approximate distance. We get them in line, get them within the right distance, set the hub, go back on top of the hub, and dial it in even closer by making a straight line and then getting our final mark. Now, one thing that you always want to do when you finish is go back to your back sight to make sure that you are still in line and your instrument has not moved. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And while he's walking, I'll get myself turned that way. And I'm going to get real close to my 0, clamp your motion, and then use your tangent screw to get right on 0 degrees, which was where our back sight reading was taken. 0 degrees, and then when he gets there, he'll set up on that point. And he should be right dead on the money already because I'm set to 0. So I take a look. Have to pan up a little bit to find him. Let him get plumb. Good! We're still at 0 degrees. So that's the process for laying out points with the total station and then checking back in with your back sight.